jump up, people, are you ready?
Hello everyone and welcome to On Tour, our final program of this West Indies versus Sri Lanka series. And quite fittingly, it's finished 0-all the series. The West Indies and Sri Lanka drawing the first test and also drawing the second. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, to tell the truth, the pitch had little in it for bowlers and perhaps much more for batsmen. And a draw seemed the most predictable result. And add to that, a lot of rain on the third day, the fourth day, and even on the fifth. So it was quite natural that the match ended in somewhat of a tame draw, with the Sri Lankans finishing on 193 for 2, chasing an unlikely 377 to win. Let's have a look at the scorecard in the match and see how it finished. Of course, you remember the West Indies, 354, and then they declared on 280 for 4. And then when Sri Lanka, of course, batted initially, they fell short by 104, 258, set that 377, like I said. They finished on 193 for 2. Finally, the captain, who's had a wretched series, came good. Dimuth Kiratne, 75, and with him was Fernando, who made 66 not out, to give themselves some personal satisfaction on a tour that really didn't go their way where batting is concerned. But generally, I think the Sri Lankans will be happy that they came to the Caribbean with a team that was not so strong. They had about 6 or 7 of their main players out because of injury. And they were not beaten and disgraced in this test series, even if they lost the ODIs 3-0 and the T20s 2-1. So, it's a drawn game, guys. I've got our panel, of course. Tino Best, the former Barbados and West Indies fast bowler. Our international correspondent from the BBC is Johnny Barron. And, of course, one of the greatest ever, Sir Clive Lloyd, the former Ghana and West Indies test captain. Let's dig right into the day, and then we're going to talk about the series and look forward to hopefully South Africa in June. So Clive, I'll start first of all with you because the day really had nothing in it. It started late first of all because of rain, which has curtailed this entire match. And the Sri Lankans just opted for batting practice.
Yes, Barry, it is, well, yes, a tame draw, but I think that we got, the point is if you don't win often, you've got to be able to put yourself in a position to win. And I thought that probably we missed a trick when we sort of made 300 odd, led by 90 odd. We were nearly 300 runs with quite a lot of time, and I thought we could have promoted somebody up there to force the pace, and which would have given the West Indies a larger total, more time to bowl to them, and you would have had 2 new balls and one in the middle of the day. So that is the sort of situation that we missed out on. But it was good cricket. We didn't lose. The captain came good. The bowlers put in some effort. But I think they're just reading the game a little bit better. In the future, we have to do so.
So Tino, based on what Sir Clive is saying, for you, was it the pitch? Or was it the fact that the rain kind of curtailed the match too much for there to be a result? What do you think?
Well, to be honest, a bit of both. Every component was against the West Indies. They didn't score quickly enough. And Sir Clay said something which is very important. They did not score fast enough because you would have had the opportunity to have a second new ball in the middle of the afternoon on the 5th day. And because they did not score quickly enough, it meant that the declaration came a lot later than they would have liked. They should have bowled 20 overs at the Sri Lankans yesterday evening. But nevertheless, I thought the surface from day one would look flat and docile, Barry. And look, when you got guys coming down to the Caribbean that that aren't accustomed to seeing bouncy, quick wickets, you will have to prepare those kind of surfaces. I always go back to when the West Indies play England. Kensington Oval, St. Lucia, I think it was Antigua, prepared quick surfaces. And that's what you need. You need to help your fast bowlers. We got 4 fast bowlers. And we need to prepare surfaces that's conducive for fast bowling. Simple.
Yeah, I fully agree. So, Johnny Barron, what would Sri Lanka take away then after losing the T20s, losing the ODIs? What would they take away from this 0-all in the Test series?
Yeah, I think they'll they'll take away an awful lot. They came into this series without the likes of Kusal Pereira, Kusal Mendes, and also Angelo Matthews. There are other players missing, and I thought they played pretty superbly, really, throughout.
There was
the course
also
of the series.
Shanika was not here as well.
Yes, absolutely. He was missing as well. But I think they batted well in the second innings to set up potentially a match-winning situation in that first test, and batted extremely well in the fourth innings to save the game in this particular test match. And they had 4 players that averaged over 50 in the course of the series. And also Lakmal was the leading wicket taker. They are a really talented side. And you feel that Mickey Arthur has got a side that he can take away from this series with great confidence and move on to greater things.
You look at the fact that today, Karatne, he must have felt somewhat pressured to score. He has had a wretched series. He has had about, 4 or 5 scores in single digits. I think his high score before the 75 today was 12. Is he that good a cricketer? Is he that good a batsman when you look at his overall record? Tell me about him and how he was able to get these runs today.
Karunaratne is a seriously good cricketer. He's got 11 Test hundreds. He's got 20 Test 50s. He's a fine player. Up until this innings, of course, just 12 being his highest score and then everything under that in the build-up to this innings. But he's a class player, and he showed that finally in this series today.
So Clive, Fernando, 66 not out. He obviously said, look, I'm just going to opt for this batting practice. Nothing in the game, nothing in the pitch. Just let me perhaps come and see it to the end, and that's just what he did. He batted quite enterprisingly for his 66.
Yes, I think, as I said, the Sri Lankans are well coached. They're very good players. The batters of ours, they're very correct, and they have some good players. And they've, as you said earlier, they've missed out a few of their top class cricketers. But I'm sure that they will get back in the thick of things in the not too distant future, because they have some seriously good players.
Tino, the man of the match was Craig Brathwaite for that century in the 85. He scored over 200 runs in the match. But the man of the series, this would please you, was Lakmal. He got 11 wickets with his fast bowling, and he looked quite threatening. Do you think that was an accurate reflection of how he really bowled, and did he deserve that man of the series award?
Absolutely. Finally, a fast bowler gets some reward.
I should have known not to ask you that question. I should really have posed that question to Sir Clive or Johnny, but I give it to you, so take it.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard work. He was the workhorse. He ran in and he bowled beautifully. He bowled good lengths, got the ball to shape away, got it to swing in, and he was skillful and rightfully so, being man of the series in a dead rubber. And look, the pitches were very good for batting. The batsmen dominated it, and it's good to see a fast bowler getting 10 or 11 scalps in a 2-match series. As a fast bowler, you always try to aim for at least 5 to 6 wickets a test match, and he did that well on both occasions. So congratulations to him.
How good, Johnny Barron, is Lakmal in terms of measuring against the top fast bowlers in world cricket right now?
Lakmal is outstanding, and actually since the age of 31 he's taken 63 wickets at 22. He's one of the form players in world cricket. Interesting enough, actually, a lot of those wickets actually come, or a lot of his wickets overall come in the first innings, and you can see why. He puts absolutely everything, heart and soul, into his performance. And bear in mind, of course, he was really seriously injured in the attacks in Pakistan way back when, of course, when he picked up an injury that he still carries to this day. There's a big metal plate in one of his thighs, which means every time he goes through airport security, the alarms go off, and it's a continual problem for him, and he can't get a great deal of treatment on it as well. He's a superhuman bowler, and he bowled absolutely superbly through the course of this series. He was brilliant.
Well said there, Johnny Barron. You're watching On Tour and Flow Sports. When we come back, we're going to just look back at some of the star performers of this series for the West Indies in particular. And, of course, we remember what happened in the One Days and the T20s. When we come back, On Tour on Flow Sports.
Put up your hand, it's time to party. Turn it up to the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up your hand, it's time to party.
So welcome back to Flow Sports. If you're just joining us and looking at the highlights, well, not much really to see, to tell the truth. The match finishing in a draw. Sri Lanka, they were 29 without loss overnight, and they finished in 193 for 2 just before play was called off, and the match and the series ended in a draw. Now, let's look at some of the top performers for the West Indies. Craig Brathwaite, the captain, led from the front. Although he got, 237 runs in the series, 200 of those runs were scored in one test. But nevertheless, he got the most runs. Let's examine him and his batting in this test series. Let's start first of all with you, Johnny Barron.
Well, I thought Craig Brathwaite was absolutely outstanding in this particular Test match, and you can understand actually that in the first game coming to terms with taking over the captaincy from Jason Holder and all the responsibility that it brings. But my word, he looked an accomplished player in this particular game. I thought he was absolutely superb, leading from the front in that first innings. Perhaps you could argue he could have got a little bit of a wriggle on in the second innings, but you could argue he could have been an anchor as well. But I thought he was outstanding. And what's a really interesting stat about him is in the 900s that he's scored, they've all been from the top of the order. And in that time, since he scored that first 100, nobody else has scored 100 in the opening pair.
Yeah, that's a very interesting stat there. In fact, I think Kyron Powell was the last opening batsman to score 100, and that was in 2014. So that's a long time ago. Sir Clive, Kyle Mears, double century in Bangladesh. Many people thought, well, look, he looks good, but let's just wait a little bit longer and see him. And he's proved to be very consistent. 250s, 240s. He has done very little wrong.
Yes, I think he's one for the future. He looks good. Sometimes he takes the odd chance here and there, but that makes up his play. And he hits the ball quite well, quite hard, and I think that he's very positive in his play. The only thing is that he's getting to those 50s. You need to carry on and get the bigger scores, and probably with time you will be able to do so. But he has been a good find in the last couple of months.
Tino, I come to you about the fast bowlers in the West Indies team, and I'm going to talk about a subject that you're not qualified in, fitness. How fit are our fast bowlers, Tino, and what do they need to do perhaps to increase and enhance their durability, especially when they reach conditions like these in this test series?
To be honest, Barry, I think it's all about management. I don't even think it's about fitness really, because when you look at the players, I think that the fast bowlers look fit. Azari looks in good shape. Kimar looks in good shape. Jason looks in good shape. You think about Shannon, because he's so injury prone. He pulled his hamstring today. I mean, look, haven't we not learned our lesson from Shannon playing back-to-back test matches? He is our straight bowler, but we have to take care of him. He cannot, because of his injury history with injuries, he can't play 2 back-to-back games, Barry. And this is something that the management of the West Indies have to take in serious consideration. You have to protect him. You can't let him play.
Why is it that England are rotating their fast bowlers with no
Correct.
problems? You've got Jones, you've got Anderson, you've got Broad, you've got Archer, you've got Wood. They're all rotating, no issues, but we seem to find it hard to do it in the Caribbean. Why is it? What is the issue with that, Tino?
Confidence in the other guys that are on the bench, I guess. Because I honestly believe that if you weren't going to play Warri Khan, you could have given young Jaden Searles an opportunity, Shamar Holder, and so forth. You could have given those spacers an opportunity. But you wait with Shannon knowing that he has a history of getting hurt when he plays back-to-back test matches. And you still let him play. I don't understand it. That's the honest truth.
So, Clive, back in your day, it's bad to compare this, to tell the truth. I feel guilty actually comparing who you had and who we have now. But you had great fast bowlers. Did you have a problem? I mean, the workload might not have been as much because there was no T20s and fewer ODIs. But did you have problems in terms of resting your key players at some intervals to ensure that they're fresh every time you had to call upon them?
No, I don't. Our guys always wanted to play. Nobody wanted to rest at all because they knew that probably they might not they might lose the place. No, I think it is a situation where it's fitness, and he has that sort of action that it takes a lot out of him. And I wondered, if you play just one test match and then you rest, then you have to come back. Some players have to play games, like, to get fit. Like Walsh, you have to play him a game before the test match. Andy Roberts. So I think Shannon is a little bit different. And if they want to rest him, fine. They'll have to work out how, because how are you going to rest? You have just two test matches. You hardly play 5 test matches anyway, now. So the point is, with 2 test matches, you're hoping that your fastest bowler would be available. But if it's 3 test matches, yes, you probably can rest him for 1 and play in the 3rd.
And you look at it from the flip side. I'm talking now to Johnny Barron. The Sri Lankans, their bench is not that strong, but I think that they will come away from this series, Johnny, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they will come away with this series learning that they've found some really good spinners that they can depend on when you don't have the Shanakas and the other players who perhaps are not going to be available all the time for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point, actually. I mean, Embledenia was probably a little bit of a disappointment. Of course, getting injured in this game, in the latter part of this game, didn't help. But he had a fantastic series against England, 15 wickets in the 2 tests, and could, with a little bit more luck, have ended up on the winning side in that series if Joe Root hadn't got all those runs. And I have to say, Hasaranga looks a wonderful talent with bat and ball, and I'd be amazed if we didn't see him a little more in the test arena. I think Mickey Arthur's got a wealth of talent to manage. And I think, this transition phase that they've gone through, they haven't got the likes of Harath and Muralitharan and those absolutely world-class bowlers to rely on at this stage. But they could well develop 1 or 2, and they've got a talented side with the bat.
All right, you're watching On Tour and Flow Sports. When we come back, we hear from the West Indies and the Sri Lankan camps as we wrap it up.
Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to party. Turn it up to the top. It's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to...
We're back on Flow Sports. Time now to hear from the captains and, of course, both camps about how they felt about this entire series. 0-0 West Indies versus Sri Lanka.
I have the captain of the Sri Lankan team, Dimuth Karunaratne. He's here with us. Dimuth, congratulations on securing a draw and drawing the series. First up, are you satisfied with the outcome of this series?
Yeah, I think if you take the wickets, it's not easy to take wickets, but in the first 2 days, there's something for the bowlers. After that, it's getting flatter and flatter. I think if you take the both teams, done really well. Both teams have done really hard work. So I'm really happy the way we're playing, especially for the bowlers. I think Suranga was he was done really good job for us, and even the Vishwa and Dushmanta, they were really hard. They do the really hard work in these wickets. I'm really happy the way we bowl, but we need to improve our batting. We need some partnership going forward, and those are the little bit concerns for me. But I think, overall, I'm really happy about the performance.
We saw attritional cricket from both sides. Was there one particular area of your game that impressed you the most throughout the series?
I think bowling was really crucial time. I think the fast bowlers, they were done really well. Sometimes, we were in the second innings, we were losing one bowler, our main spinner. So, but I think the Dhananjay was he put his head down and he done that job as well. I think, exceptionally, I think for me, the way Tirimana batted and Oshanta batted. Even the Pathum debut for him, and he was he's playing his 50th test, really calmness. The way he batted, I think, really good for Sri Lanka future.
Craig, congratulations to you. Thanks. How does this award feel in your role as captain of this West Indian side?
Well, very pleasing. Obviously as you lead the team, you want to lead from the front. So, I was happy, to get 2 good scores.
Yeah, and in terms of this batting effort, it looked like you really prepared well for this challenge. You had a lean run of form. What was significant for you to achieve the type of success we saw from you with the bat?
Well, one of the main things for me, was to keep it simple. The first test, obviously batted a number of balls, didn't get these scores that I would have liked. But, I had some positives. So, I just, made sure I just had a solid plan and batted 100%.
At any point in time, do you consider changing your approach? Many describe you as an accumulator in terms of your style of batting. And in the modern game, we see a lot of stroke players. Is there a chance that you consider just changing the momentum of your batting, or are you satisfied where you are as a batsman?
Well, I could, change at times. Obviously, for me, I play the situation in the game. And, I mean, that's the one thing for me. I'm pretty confident, that I could, score at whatever rate I choose to at any time.
And in terms of the outcome of this series, how do you feel this goes with you and your objectives set before?
Well, I'm very happy. Obviously, it was a good pitch. Both test matches, the bowlers really worked hard. And what I was pleased with, none of the guys ever gave up. Even down to Alzari, the last spell, still giving an effort, to get some sharp balls in. So very happy, with the effort of the team. And batting-wise, we continue to bat a number of overs, 90-plus overs, which is a positive for us. And yes, we would have liked to win, but I was very happy with the attitude we had and the discipline. And, obviously the pitch was a good one throughout. It didn't spin at all. But I was very happy with the fast bowlers' effort. Shannon, Kimar, Alzari, Jason, even Kyle Mears when needed. And then, Jimbo, was phenomenal. So I was happy with the fight we had. We didn't give up. And, we just got to keep growing from strength to strength.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, in 30 seconds, as we wrap it up now, we take a 2-month break or so, then hopefully the South Africans would come. Any big changes do you see, Tino Best, for the South African series in terms of West Indies opening batsmen or perhaps some bowlers you want to see in the series? We will have to also wait to see where that series is going to be played. Let's hear from you.
Not a lot of changes. Same squad. I would like to see that they get in better shape, get sharper, work harder, do some more explosive work, and just keep themselves in good shape for the South Africans, because it's going to be a very tough series. It's going to be Craig Bradford's toughest assignment, and I look forward to seeing the West Indies do well against the South Africans.
Johnny Barron?
Well, South Africa, for me, are a side there for the taking. They may well have beaten Sri Lanka, but they're nowhere near the side they have been in recent years. For me, the one person I'd like to see in that test side, and somehow, for me, he's got to be accommodated because he's one of the most talented players on the circuit, is Shea Hope. I'm not sure quite how you do that. Maybe he takes the gloves as one example, but maybe even push De Silva up to open and he fits in the middle order. But for me, that's one player who has to get in that side for me.
Last word with you, Sir Clive Lloyd.
Well, I agree that we're discussing that situation. We do need an opening batsman. If this guy is good enough to open and let Shai Hope wicket keep, because he scores quickly. He's in form. I think he's got back his mojo, as they say. Yes, I think it's got to be played in a place where you've probably Barbados, where they're a little bit more bounce. They've got two very good fast bowlers, Norje and if I pronounce his name right, and Rabada. They're fairly lively, and it's obvious that the West Indies will have to combat those two guys. So I think it could be a very exciting series, and with confidence, we've played four test matches and we haven't lost any. So that will give them some confidence.
All right, well, we look forward to the South Africans coming a calling. Of course, if you're not going to be watching the action live on Flow Sports, we have all of the highlights, the analysis here for you on tour. It's been a pleasure. We take a little break in terms of the time we'll be not on tour, but we'll be back, God willing, in June. I want to thank our producer, Rivelino Simmons, for doing a tremendous job. Tino Best, Philo Wallace, Johnny Barron, and Sir Clive Lloyd. Earlier, we also saw and heard from Vinod Mamchad. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Continue to stay in touch. We've got lots more cricket on Flow Sports. IPL is starting on Friday. Stay tuned for that. We're going to tell you all about the programs we've got here on Flow. I'm Barry Wilkinson, like I said. Bye-bye for now.
West Indies. to jump up, people, are you ready?